Hello, welcome back to Premier League Today. Jose Mourinho has been saying, look, last season, Manchester United won 9 points from their opening 3 games and went on to finish in 6th. So he's not getting carried away. But given the build-up to Manchester United's season, to start with what Peter Drury called a statement 4-0 win, does it just add fuel to this expectation that they will, if not win, then challenge for the title seriously?
Yeah, I think so. And he's right, saying it's a statement win. And when you look at the way they did play, and that's the Man United I know. It was full of energy and pace and finishing, which they didn't do a lot of last season. They missed too many chances, and maybe we know that Matic has gone in as a real major component, but the amount of chances that they missed at home at Old Trafford last season, I think they would have definitely been in the top 4. So I don't think he's getting carried away with that, but I do believe that this Manchester United team, it just feels good. It feels right, you know. They still got Rashford who can play on the left. I know that they may be trying to I've heard that Lamar now, Thomas Lamar is somebody that's on their radar. Perisic is somebody that, I know that his name's been mentioned, but I think Lamar would be the perfect for them.
Attacking, yeah.
You know, more attacking, and I think he could play both wings and stuff like that. But they just look, there's an ominous vibe about it, and it reminded me of the old Man United that I played against. You're quite afraid of them because, like Miguel, we said, and you said, that first goal, what they scored there, that Ibrahimovic doesn't score that goal because he doesn't make that run like Lukaku made, and they're going to do a lot more of that this season because that's what Lukaku does. He threatens that shoulder, and they didn't do that last season, Man United.
Yeah, as much as the scoreline was impressive, it was the way they went about dismantling an admittedly poor West Ham on the day.
Yeah, I suppose, I mean, West Ham, that's the caveat to how bad West Ham were, and I think they have concerns. But it was the way, a little bit like Burnley, obviously the opposite scale, though. United sensed that weakness and really went for it. And they absolutely bad. I haven't seen a United, you know, I remember the one thing about the Ferguson great days, we hark back to them so much, but I suppose that's the benchmark. When United were at their best, especially when they're, say, 2-1 down or 2-2 at the end of a game, and it would just be relentless, and the siege would come, and like you just knew it would break.
And you think you're sitting there thinking, they're going to score in a minute.
Yeah.
They're going to score in a minute.
And the whole game was like that against West Ham. I mean, it was relentless. It was just an onslaught.
It would be very exciting for United fans seeing a performance like that. People are saying, oh, it's only one game, don't get excited. It should be exciting for Man United fans because I haven't seen them like that too many times.
It's better than playing badly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely. You picked up on Matic earlier on. Is it about what he adds defensively, which is what Mourinho said after the game on Sunday, or is it about the confidence that he gives to the forward players, you know, that they don't need to be looking over their shoulders?
Yeah, but it's both, because you see him there knowing, sensing the danger and knowing exactly when to challenge. But not only that, he's gone forward, so we know he's a holding midfield player, but like he's got great skills. If you watch this, you know, because before he went to, it's only when he went to Benfica, they turned him into this holding defensive midfield player, but he's got fantastic ability. Not only, like I say, he senses danger and he's in. That is what's good about it. He senses it. It's the same like Kante. They sense it, they're in, and they make it happen. Great forward passes like that. You know, he's not too, you know, it's not all about sideways passes. Look, he's got the composure, and then bang into the front man, and it's baffling. It's baffling that you look at Chelsea, what they're going through, and they've sold him to Man United. It just doesn't make no sense.
Doesn't make sense to Antonio Conte either, by all accounts. Moving on to Lukaku, Romelu Lukaku, because as a striker, watching him play for Manchester United this season, did he do everything right in that opening game, or is there still more to come from him?
No, I think there's still more to come, because the ball still, some of the times, it didn't quite stick to him, but that is what he's in the team for. That last man, getting on the end of things and finishing off chances. And now, like I said, I've said it before, that if he can get himself in the box, do that, like the first goal, take that chance, and he did have a chance to get a hat-trick in this game, you know, people are not going to be worried about the breakdown off of his first touch and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, when you're scoring goals, Kels, that's what the fans want to see. They'll take that. They'll take the ball bouncing off of him or not linking up the play as well as he should. And that is what I've always said he should be working on.
What's good as well, that's two competitive games now if you count the Super Cup, and 3 goals. So immediately, we all know what happens when you sign a new striker, and suddenly it takes him 4 or 5 games. Then it becomes an issue, that their goal ratio. Exactly. But straight away, he's off and running.
And he's picked up where he's left off last season. So he will get more chances this season, and I think that he's somebody that is capable of getting 30 Premier League goals this season.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. With the chances they make.
And he, as you said, he did it at Everton, and the criticism when he was at Everton was that he wasn't getting the goals in the big. I mean, that's not quite right statistically. That isn't quite borne out. However, Everton will be expected, certainly last season, would be expected to approach the so-called big games in a very different way from how Manchester United were, and they do have a run of big games coming up now, Manchester United.
Yeah, but it is Man United, and they are playing with confidence. They have got a goal scorer who's in top form, and they've got a holding midfielder in Matic who is going to be able to mop up, win the ball and give it to people like Pogba, who can look back and see someone like Matic and feel confident with that. Mkhitaryan the same. Rashford can blast up the left-hand side, feeling confident that he knows that he hasn't got to worry too much about, you know, having to get back like the time when Oxlade-Chamberlain last season ran him that way and crossed it, and he got in trouble for that. He knows that Matic will cover his area if he goes in there. So there's a lot of confidence in the team simply because of what Matic now gives. And that's why everybody's saying, oh, Matic, Matic, Matic. He is a major component in them doing well. That's why it'd be interesting to see if he does get injured. Touch wood, he doesn't. You see what Man United do, but they create so many chances. Is the reason why and they miss so many chances. Is the reason why I say Lukaku could get 30 goals this season. Sorry.
When we looked at Manchester United and the appointment of Jose Mourinho, we expected him to bring back their swagger, which we saw, I mean, in fits and starts last season. But this feels like a much bigger change to the mentality of Manchester United. Definitely the feeling around Old Trafford, particularly after that game at the weekend. Before they get to that run of big games, they have got quite a really good opportunity to get a good base down to build on, haven't they? Yeah,
and I mean, that's been, I suppose, the foundation of, I think, every title in Mourinho's career. I think all of his titles, they've never been coming from behind, but it's always because he set a very, very strong start. And if they can get into that position, then suddenly, I suppose, that swagger will grow. And Mourinho then, I mean, you often hear people say about Mourinho that he's very, very charming when he's winning and not when he's losing or when it's not going his way. But that's why, I suppose, it's almost self-perpetuating. And if they get into that position, then you see Mourinho's best qualities as a manager come out because it's from a position of arrogance, from a position of confidence, and one way where he believes in himself more again. Because I think there were times last season, especially after what happened at Chelsea, where maybe there was just a little element of doubt. And when United almost went too negative in big games, whereas they had, like, I think particularly say City away, then they'll all. Whereas I don't think that will happen as much if he's if they're in a position of strength. Yeah.
Do you think this is a huge season for Jose Mourinho, given that it comes off the back of his time at Real Madrid, which was very unsettled and unhappy for him, then off Chelsea, where he had the success and then it fell apart so spectacularly, then last season at Manchester United, where he was criticised and finished outside the top four, finishing sixth, and yes, got the trophies that he was keen to point out for everyone, but a qualified success rather than a roaring success. Is this a huge season for him?
Yeah, it is a huge season for him because it is Man United and they do want, and he is starting to get the team that he wants. And it just coincides with the fact that he always wins the league in his second season. And if that performance is anything to go by, then you have to say that everything seems to be lined up perfectly for them to do that. And it's only now depends on how Man United perform in the games. But I think that they're now maybe another signing, maybe if it's Lamar, whoever it is, Perisic, whoever it's going to be, I think that they're close to where they want to be, and I feel like they're playing the kind of football that people are expecting to see from Man United. I think they're going to be a problem this season for teams.
Well, if everything is lining up nicely for Manchester United, the opposite can be true for their opposition this weekend, Swansea. Fernando Llorente, their star striker, is out because he fell off a bike while on holiday with his children and broke his arm. And they've agreed a deal for Everton to take Gylfi Sigurdsson, who's been their best player over the last couple of seasons. So quite a tricky situation for manager Paul Clement.
You know, I was quite clear in my mind that this would eventually happen. So I'd made up my mind. I had to, plan for life without Gylfi, and that's what I did. Got down to work with the players and concentrated on a performance against Southampton. I'm going to do the same against Manchester United this weekend. But the amount that the club received for Gylfi is an undisclosed amount. So that's an agreement between Everton and us, so I can't therefore discuss what the amount was, but in my opinion we received a good transfer fee for Gylfi. it's a big challenge. You know, no question about it. But what we hope to be able to do is to, you know, rather than not have, we haven't got Gylfi, but we could potentially bring in not just one for one, but you know, potentially 2 or 3 players that will strengthen the squad in various positions.
Well, is that what they're going to have to do? Are they going to be able to go out and buy a direct replacement for Gylfi Sigurdsson and everything that he brings them with such a short period of the transfer window left?
No, I don't think they're going to be able to do that.
So is Paul Clement looking at the right solution then to bring in a couple of players who can do bits of what Sigurdsson does?
I've seen them linked with Wilfred Bonney as well, who's someone who's familiar to the Swansea fans in the way that they play. Maybe if they could get him back and he could nick some goals, maybe that might be one of the solutions. But yeah, he's going to have to find a couple of players to fill in for what Gylfi does. And when you looked at his numbers there, you know, the goals and assists and covering ground and everything like that, he's the top player for Swansea. It's a massive blow for them. But like Paul Clement said there, he knew it was coming. But when it does finally come, that's when the realization has hit him. It's hit the whole club that something needs to happen, because if you take his stats away from them, they're probably struggling.
Well, they were their 2 greatest sources of goals.
Yes.
Llorente and Sigurdsson. I mean,
Llorente as well. Yeah.
Are you surprised that Llorente had an accident while cycling? Is it because players what they're allowed to do is so tightly controlled?
I remember one time I was saying to you that I was bored one day and I was reading the contract and
must have been really bored.
I was very bored, but I was relaxing in between games. But what it was is that I was reading it and I was reading the pages where what you're supposed to do in respects of activity, and there's literally all you can literally do is walk to the car, get in the car and go to the training ground and go. You can't do anything like that. Bike riding and anything that's got to do with involved with you running or moving. You weren't even allowed to run. There was a bit in it where you're not allowed to run and do any kind of strenuous exercise away from the club and the club environment. And so, you know, I know that he's probably having a little poodle with his family, but now people say, yeah, but he's only having a little poodle with his family. But look what's happened. He's going to miss the start of the season because
what's life without risk, though, hey?
Yeah, but the thing is, Kels, you look at what it could cost Swansea, losing Gylfi, losing him to an injury like that.
I wonder how Clement reacted when he heard that news.
He must, when he heard that, he would have thought, what's going on? Something's going on up there. Yeah. Why this is happening to me? But as much as people say, yeah, but that can happen. You know, he's just right. It shouldn't happen at that stage of the summer. You've got to be a lot more careful than that. You really, really do, because it has happened.
We'll get your thoughts a bit later on. Is there any way that Swansea can get anything from this game, Miguel?
Well, they frustrated United last season, I suppose, but there was I mean, they had an attack last season. United had less of an attack. Yeah. No, I think I'd say I'd be 90% sure United win 2 or 3-0.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Righty agrees with you a little bit later on. Manchester City, on the other hand, are at home to Everton. Here's Pep Guardiola.
What's the situation with Manchester City, Johnny Evans?
He's a player for West Brom, so it stay the same. Tony Pulis was clear, so nothing to add.
Expanding that perhaps, but not talking about him, how much would you like to have another centre-back for this new season?
We try to do the best squad as possible for the long season. And we're going to see how the market finishes at the end of the season. So we have to stay with the players that we have right now. We'll be happy, and if someone can come, so we'll be happy too. So I know how good the club works since I arrived here, not just that season, the season before. So we try to do our best, and sometimes it's possible, sometimes not. So nothing to say.
The Johnny Evans deal has garnered so much. Go and look at your face. You're ready for this one, aren't you? You lean forward. There was a smile on your face. Go on then. Take it away on Johnny Evans.
You know what it is with Johnny Evans? I remember Arsenal. We were linked with Johnny Evans, and Arsenal fans went crazy. They went crazy because they thought, why are we going for Johnny Evans? We should be going for this. We should be going for that. But like, you look at Johnny Evans and the fact that Pep has gone for him in a Manchester City side that, yes, they need a bit more shoring up. But if you're going to shore it up, you want somebody that you can depend on. And you look at Johnny Evans and how good he was. I genuinely believe that he's still better than 3 or 4 of the Manchester United centre-halves. So I believe they've made a mistake. He's in letting him go. He's gone to West Brom and he's proven his quality. And now he's been linked. He was linked with Arsenal. And it didn't happen, and now City want him, and you can see that happening, and you can see him going in, very dependable, strong, quick, organiser, leader. You know, not only for his
team, 3 titles as well.
Exactly, 3 titles, not only for his club but for his country as well. And you know, a dependable player, and it just makes me smile that that like Arsenal fans were like poo-pooing that kind of signing when you look at Manchester City.
Maybe they wanted the glamour and the practicality rather than...
but what happens is, Kels, what it shows is that somebody at Arsenal is on the right track, but obviously his person's not being able to do his stuff properly.
Also, the only reason he's not at United, basically, because he didn't suit the very specific type of centre-half that Van Gaal wants. And we all know how idiosyncratic Van Gaal was in terms of kind of what he wanted from a team. Whereas Guardiola was going to... believed to be of a similar school as Van Gaal, but yet is kind of more expansive. Yeah. Like from what I heard, ever since he saw Evans for United in that 08-09 season, when they actually met in the Champions League, and that was Evans' first breakthrough season at United when they won the 3rd title in a row. Yeah. He really liked what he saw there, and that was when he was, what, 20 or so? And he's always been a fan, Guardiola.
And also, I mean, you watch a lot of European football. Is there something very specific required to be a central defender in the Premier League? Is it a slightly different job?
I think with Guardiola it's almost different because he's got such a specific way of playing, and we saw it last season. We were talking off air about that Leicester game. That's amazing.
Does this give him the option to do the more traditional style?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's key is just, I think with a Guardiola team, especially when he doesn't have a Busquets type defensive midfielder, he leaves the 2 centre halves very, very open.
Yes.
And then sometimes when they're caught in the break, it's utter panic. I think Piqué, when he had Piqué at Barcelona, he was very good for that because he just kind of stayed composed and was able to kind of deal with those one-on-one situations. And I think that's what he wants similar from Evans. And also a big thing in this as well is that he wants some experience to play alongside John Stones because he wants to bring. I mean, there was talk that I can't remember the guy's name, but he wanted some 18, 19-year-old centre half who he rates really highly, but realised we can't go for him now because I can't play him and Stones together.
No.
Whereas Evans now, he's 29, almost 30. He's the right personality beside Stones.
Talking about experience and youth, Aguero and Jesus were supposed to be either or, one or the other, the new player coming in and pushing out the old guard. Aguero was on his way. Yeah. Now it looks, the end of last season and the beginning of this, as though they're a partnership.
Yeah, they are, and top players. And when you've got top players, they can play together. The only problem I would have thought they might have had is if the senior guy in this partnership, being Aguero, would be like having the ump about the fact that he's got this new young pretender who Pep quite
confident. Would you have thought that?
Well, I probably would have. I'd have felt really threatened by him, especially the way he came in and the way Pep just gave him the license. He just go and play and dropped him, left Aguero out, and obviously Aguero had to think about himself and what was going on. And probably they've had a chat, and he said, "Listen, maybe you can mentor him and bring him on." And they look like a proper good partnership, and it looks to me like Aguero has taken him kind of under the wing, and they play very, very well together.
Phenomenal record together as well.
Well,
I mean, you'd expect with 2 goal scorers, I suppose, but it doesn't always. I mean, right, you're saying 2 great players can always play together. It doesn't always click in quite the right way, does
Especially if it's kind of overlap. And I think that was one of the feelings with these 2 players. They make the same sort of runs, but they seem to complement each other. And I suppose, given the amount of ball that City have and the amount of tackles they have, and the amount of times that ball is in the area, it actually makes sense to have 2 kind of finishers in there. Yes. Because suddenly they've come out from both angles. If one misses, the other's there.
And the thing is, he should have nicked a couple of goals in that particular game, Jesus. And we saw with Aguero, he got his chance and finished chance. And they were very patient, City, for 70 minutes. Never panicked. And they looked very calm and composed. And when you got that kind of offensive potency, you're going to beat teams.
If I come to think of it, I mean, remember how many times last season did Guardiola say, we have a problem in the box that we're not finishing. And again, the amount of times they would have the ball in around the box, but someone get a chance and we go begging. Is this his solution then?
Maybe
get that extra striker in there.
And look, if he wants options, he's got Sterling and Sane on the bench. £200 million bench he had for the game against Brighton, which is more than Brighton Stadium costs. They had sitting on the bench for Manchester City.
And you know, we're talking about, look at those players. You know, even Foden looks like an amazing player. Can't wait to see his progression and how he goes on. Bernardo Silva, as well. You know, a fantastic signing, super player, as close a player I've seen to David Silva in the way he plays. And you know, you got Sterling as well, and Sane, like you mentioned. It's an amazing array of talent they've got, and that is why you have to say that a lot of people have made them favourites.
Well, will Gylfi Sigurdsson make an appearance for Everton against Manchester City this weekend? Boss Ronald Koeman said he's going to wait till the last minute to decide.
We will do some tests how his physical state is, but he told me he did training. He played one time 45 minutes in a friendly in the beginning of the season, and of course he needs game time, but if it's game time, that will be by the first team. And I don't know if he is involved in Monday, and we will make that decision on Sunday.
And that's something of an issue that Ronald Koeman has to work with, the fact that Gylfi Sigurdsson hasn't been playing for Swansea because he's had one eye on a move away. Maybe,
but like it depends on his physical state and his fitness at this point. Of course, you need to play in games so as you get like your game legs or something, what they say. But he doesn't seem to me like somebody that looks too out of shape. He looks quite fit. So it would be all about getting to match fitness. I see him coming off the bench, and you know, with his ability, he can easily curl in a free kick or create something. He's going to do something. He doesn't look to me like he's injured with a back injury because he's waiting for because he's waiting for a move. Back injury speaks a man who's never had a bad back. I've never had a back injury, so I feel that he'll probably come off the bench and they'll ease him into it.
We talked earlier on about Gylfi Sigurdsson and looked at his statistics. Everton trying to replace Romelu Lukaku, not just in terms of what he does, but in terms of his goals. Are they going to have to spread that out amongst a few players, do you think? And will Sigurdsson be one of them?
Well, I would have said that up until last weekend, but then I was actually very impressed with Rooney. And I have to say...
He was good.
Surprised. Because when you saw him, there were so many times I saw him last season, United, unfortunately, Rooney looks done. It looks like his legs have gone. He's as if... I know he's because he's been playing since 16 in football years, almost he looks like 37.
But then you look at that, you see that
exactly.
He's got people making forward movements for him. Watch him. When he's got people making forward movements. When Wayne Rooney gets the ball in these areas, he is as good as anyone when he's passed. Look at that. He's got that. That's what he's got. And if he's got runners, he will find them. And I think that some of the times, especially when they was playing and as Zlatan was playing, he didn't have too much in front of him to pass. Look at that. You know, he's got everything. You know, his sharpness is back, his swagger's back. And then you see his hunger and desire to get in the box, and look at his finish. Super. You know, he looked very, very good. He looked very, very good. Look how happy he is.
He was working hard over the summer as well, apparently, to get himself back in shape, because he's determined to kind of show, like...
Yeah.
This isn't like a romantic move. It's not just a romantic gesture. It's a serious part of his career.
Delighted for him.
Everton are such a fascinating side, maybe one of the most interesting in the Premier League at the moment, because they've spent so much money now, over £100 million now they've bought Gylfi Sigurdsson in the transfer market. Not necessarily in the very top bracket of players, but it seems as though they've bought for the positions where they needed someone. And now we have to wait to see how they all fit in. Someone like Rooney's come in, looks like he's going to hit the ground running. Sigurdsson, with Premier League experience, when he's fit and up and running, looks like it'll be a good fit. But the jury's out on some of these signings. How do you see it going for them?
I think it's the great frustration, maybe everyone outside the top six. I think he's actually they've made the team much better, and that's undeniable. But have they actually made it good enough to really make that breakthrough? They need one of the top six to have a very bad season. And it is quite maybe a little bit sad for the league and frustrating for Everton, just the fact they've done all this and it's still going to require something extra.
Yeah, I think that they're where they are, Kels. They're still, even with the acquisitions, I think Michael Keane's very good, Klassen's very good, Rooney's very good, I feel. We'll have to see how the front man, is it Sandro?
He's meant to be
£5 million. It could be a massive...
He's meant to be a good fantasy
Premier League
footballer
experience
as well.
in there, isn't there?
Huh?
There is a lot of Premier League experience in there.
Exactly. So you have to see how they are. But to break into that top six, top four, they need at least 2 or 3 of those to have exceptional seasons, and like Miguel said, someone to have a poor season.
Might be interesting to see how their results go against those teams as well that have finished in the top 6 last season. They're playing most of them over their next few games. I mean, that's an extraordinary run of games.
That could be a massive
City,
confidence
Chelsea,
builder.
Tottenham, Man United, and then Bournemouth and Burnley at home, where
That
you'd
could be-
expect
that-
they could breathe a
When you
little
look
bit
at
more
that,
easily. But my
if
goodness.
they with the players they've signed, they could get those 4 games there, City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, and get something out of all of those games. That would be Everton probably having a great season, and then you build on the momentum of that. But they've got to do something in those games.
And they're playing Manchester City this weekend as well, which is going to be
Yes, which is
a tricky
massive
ask
game.
for them.
Yeah.